Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a point in every woman's life when she has to decide, do I keep trying to fix what keeps breaking me, or do I fix my crown and walk away like he never mattered? When someone takes you for granted, silence and self-respect speak louder than revenge. Let me tell y'all something. We live in a world where everybody wants to clap back. Somebody hurt you, you got to post about it. Somebody left you, you got to show them what they missed. We got a generation right now thinking revenge is closure. That if you don't get even, then somehow you lost. But let me break this down. Silence, real intentional silence, is one of the most powerful answers you can ever give to someone who mishandled you. See, when a man starts to think he can treat you any kind of way, it's not always because he's a bad man. Sometimes it's because you've allowed too much grace. You forgave what should have been a red flag. You stayed when you should have left. You explain yourself over and over, hoping that one day he would finally understand your heart. But he didn't, because comfort made him lazy. He stopped working for your love. He stopped appreciating your presence. And now you sit there thinking, how do I make him realize what he's lost? Let me give you the answer. You don't. You don't chase. You don't fight. You don't remind him what you brought to the table. You remove yourself from the room, because once a man feels like he has access to you no matter what, he starts treating you like you'll never leave. But the moment you go silent, the moment you stop showing up, stop calling, stop explaining, that's when his mind starts playing catch up. There's something about silence that'll shake a man's ego like no insult ever could. He's expecting a storm. He's bracing for the drama. But you give him calm. You give him distance. And that distance, that's where he hears the loudest noise. That's where he starts wondering, why isn't she mad? Why isn't she texting me paragraphs? Why isn't she checking up on me anymore? You know why? Because you've elevated, you've grown, you've chosen peace over performance. See, ladies, you got to understand this. Not everyone deserves a reaction. Some men are looking for that emotional tug of war. They want to see if they still got that hold on you. They poke just to see if you'll snap. But when you don't, when you walk past all the bait and choose your dignity, that's when you win. That's when he starts to feel the weight of what he played with. I know it's hard. I know silence feels like weakness at first, but trust me, that kind of strength, that kind of discipline to hold your tongue when your heart wants to scream, that's power. Because while he's out there thinking, he still has time. You're over here building peace. You're healing. You're glowing. And eventually, that silence becomes a mirror. He starts seeing himself clearly. The neglect, the disrespect, the things he said and did like they didn't matter. But now there's no one left to apologize to. You gone. You quiet. You gone not in anger, but in self-worth. There is nothing louder than the absence of a woman who used to care. Her silence becomes the soundtrack of his regret. He'll replay the memories, reread the text, try to fill the gap, but it won't be the same. Because once you learn your value, you don't return to places that made you question it. Once you choose yourself, you don't entertain those who chose everything but you. So don't seek revenge. Don't try to prove a point. Let your silence do the talking. Let your absence teach him what your presence used to mean. He'll feel the loss. Oh, he will feel it. Not because you punished him, but because you evolved beyond him. And baby, when a woman walks in silence with her head high, every man who ever underestimated her starts to hear everything they refused to listen to before. Acting like he meant nothing doesn't mean you're heartless. It means you're healing. Now, I want y'all to listen real close, because this right here is one of the most misunderstood things about moving on. See, when a woman finally decides to stop crying, stop calling, stop explaining, and she starts carrying herself like she never knew that man, people say she cold, they say she bitter, they say she acting brand new. But let me tell you something, that ain't bitterness, that ain't coldness, that ain't pride, that's healing. That's what strength looks like after somebody's been torn down, overlooked, and taken for granted for way too long. See, people think healing is always candles, baths, and journaling. Nah. Sometimes healing is walking past someone who used to beg to notice you and not even flinching. Healing is smiling at peace you never thought you'd find. Healing is deleting the text before you press send. Healing is choosing not to remind him of how much you gave, because deep down you know he already knows and he chose to fumble it anyway. You're not being mean when you go quiet. You're not being fake when you stop checking his stories or asking mutual friends how he's doing. You're not being cold when you stop showing up. That's not heartless. That's you saying, I've done all I can. I poured love into someone who couldn't hold it. And now I'm giving that love back to myself. You want to know the truth? Acting like he meant nothing is not about erasing your past. It's about refusing to stay stuck in it. It's about recognizing that someone you once loved no longer deserves the same access. It's not hate, it's growth. Because love without respect ain't love at all. And when a man stops respecting you, when he stops showing up for your heart, that's when you stop showing up for him. Now, I know some people will say, but how can you just act like he never mattered? And the answer is simple. You don't act. You evolve. You heal. You stop tying your worth to someone who couldn't recognize it. And here's the thing, he'll notice. Oh yes, he'll see it. He'll feel that shift when you go from being emotional to being available, when your energy no longer rushes to comfort him, when your name goes from daily on his phone to never again. That's when it hits. That's when he realizes the difference between being ignored and being forgotten. And don't get it twisted. That man might act like he don't care. He might pretend like he ain't watching, but deep down, that silence haunts him. That glow up shakes him. That peace you found without him, it eats at him. Because when a woman used to revolve her world around a man and suddenly she doesn't, he starts to wonder who took his place. But the truth is, nobody took his place. You did. You filled that space with your peace, your healing, your happiness. You stopped waiting for him to value you, and you started showing up for you. Acting like he meant nothing doesn't mean you never cared. It means you cared enough for both of you, and now you're done carrying that weight. It means you're done watering dead plants. It means you're done setting yourself on fire just to keep somebody else warm. And more than anything, it means you're no longer begging for what should have been given freely: love, loyalty, and effort. You see, there's a certain kind of power that comes with peace. A certain glow in a woman's eyes when she stops chasing and starts attracting. That glow don't come from revenge. It comes from restoration, from silence, from letting go of someone who had their chance and lost it. So when they see you walking past like they never existed, don't feel bad. Don't feel guilty. That's not cruelty. That's clarity. That's healing. That's you choosing you. And baby, that's the most powerful thing a woman can ever do. For instance, forces him to face the reality of your worth. And let me tell you something. Sometimes you don't need to scream, cry, or beg a man to see what you brought into his life. All you really got to do is step back, step out, create space, and in that silence, in that absence, in that distance, the truth starts talking. Loud. Because when you're always right there, always answering the phone, always picking up the pieces, always giving him that comfort, you become background noise, familiar, expected, easy. And people don't value what's always there like they should. But the moment you create distance, everything shifts. When you stop texting first, when you stop checking in, when your name don't light up his screen like it used to, that's when his brain starts waking up. That's when the fog starts lifting. You ever notice how when you're gone, that's when he remembers the little things? Like how you used to laugh at his corny jokes, how you stayed up late listening to his problems, how you supported him when nobody else clapped. But while you were doing it, he didn't see none of that because he was too comfortable. And comfort makes people blind. See, ladies, a man can't miss what's never gone. He can't realize your value while he's still benefiting from your presence. That's why distance is necessary. Not to play games, not to manipulate, but to create the contrast, because the mind starts comparing once it has to go without. And when he's sitting there alone, when he's finally scrolling through old pictures, reading old texts, realizing the warmth he used to feel when you smiled at him, it hits different. It ain't no text you can send that teaches that. That's something only distance can do. He might act unbothered at first. He might go out, post pictures, try to flex like he's living his best life. But don't fall for that. That's noise. That's panic. That's a man realizing too late that the one person who always had his back is no longer standing behind him. And that silence, that cold space where your love used to be, that becomes louder than any words you could have shouted. See, your presence was power, but your absence is education. It teaches him what he had. It teaches him how good he had it. And sometimes people don't know the difference between attention and affection until both are gone. He thought you'd always be there. He thought no matter how he acted, you stay. But now he's alone with his choices. And that's when the mirror shows up. That's when he has to sit with the fact that he is the reason you're gone. Now, hear me when I say this. Your distance is not a punishment. It's a reflection of what you've learned. You learn you can't keep giving to someone who doesn't know how to receive. You learn that being loyal to the wrong man only makes you disloyal to yourself. So you walk away, not to hurt him, but to heal you. And in that process, he gets the real lesson, the lesson of losing a woman who gave him chance after chance, who stayed longer than she should have, who loved him through all the cracks until she couldn't anymore. And the hardest thing for a man to face is a woman's distance when it's no longer temporary, when it's real, when it's final, when there's no door open, no text unanswered, no chance for a comeback. That's when regret creeps in. That's when the memory of you becomes more valuable than your presence ever was to him while he had it. So don't chase, don't explain, let your distance do the speaking. Because while your voice may be quiet now, your absence is screaming the truth. I was worth more than you ever realized. And trust me, He hears it loud and clear. The power of walking away with dignity shakes a man more than words ever will. See, you can talk all day long. You can explain, cry, plead, even break down right in front of him. And he still might not get it. You can pour out your heart, tell him how much he's hurting you, how empty you're starting to feel, how lonely you are even while lying right next to him. And yet some men won't move, some won't listen, some won't change. You know why? Because they don't believe you'll ever leave. They think you'll keep coming back. They think no matter what, you'll still be there. But let me tell you something. The day you get quiet, the day you stop showing up, the day you grab your self-respect and walk out that door with your head held high, that's the day he feels it in his soul. That's the moment the game changes. Not when you yell, not when you argue, but when you walk away with nothing but your dignity. Because dignity is power. And when you leave with it, it creates a silence that hits harder than any speech ever could. Most men don't expect a woman to leave calm. They expect the scene. They expect you to cry, to scream, to slam the door, to post something emotional. Because in their minds, if you're loud, you're still invested. If you're reacted, you still care. But when you quiet, when you leave like you got nothing left to prove, that's when they panic. That's when they start pacing the room, checking their phone, wondering what happened. That's when they realize it wasn't just a threat this time. You're really gone and you ain't coming back. A woman who walks away with her dignity is a woman who's done trying to convince a man of her worth. She ain't looking for an apology. She ain't trying to win the argument. She ain't asking for closure. She became her own closure. She found her peace the moment she realized that staying was breaking her more than leaving ever would. And when she walks away like that, oh Lord, he remembers her. Not because she cursed him out, not because she broke his stuff, but because she didn't give him that satisfaction. She didn't give him the chaos he was prepared for. She gave him distance. She gave him silence. And that silence is loud. You see, a woman who walks away with dignity carries power in every step. Because she's not running, she's releasing. She's not leaving out of anger, she's leaving out of clarity. And trust me, a man can feel the difference. He knows when a woman is done pretending. He knows when the performance is over. And when that realization hits, it hits hard. Because deep down, he knows he did this. He pushed away the one woman who had his back, the one who showed up, the one who tried, the one who forgave him more times than she forgave herself. And here's the real thing. Most men don't appreciate dignity until it's out the door, until they're surrounded by loud, messy, attention-seeking energy, and they realize how rare it is for someone to leave quietly, gracefully, with her self-worth still intact. That's when they think back. That's when they miss you. Not just your body or your presence, but your energy, your essence, your grace. And by then, you've already moved on, not to another man, but to another level. A level where peace isn't something you fight for, it's something you choose. And that man who once took you for granted, he's now sitting there with nothing but memories and the echo of the woman who walked away not because she didn't love him, but because she finally loved herself more. So let him feel that silence. Let him feel the absence of your voice, your light, your care. Because when a woman walks away with her dignity, it doesn't leave room for a conversation. It leaves a mark. One that lasts forever. Don't prove your value, remove your presence